We begin. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of the various countries of this nation, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, which we are reminded of in the Uluru Statement of the Heart. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's program. Thank you all for logging in to our meeting tonight. Each week is a delightful reminder of Abdul Baha's words. There is nothing sweeter in the world of existence than prayer. With this in mind, this is truly my pleasure to welcome you. Please proceed with the readings.
The song that I'm going to sing is a worship song you sing at the beginning of a worship to the one and only God. And it's all about my unworthiness and His grace that forgives, and depicted in a poetry form that I died, but you gave me life, and you poured water on me, or holy water, and raised me up. தினமே நான் உன்னை தேடி பணிய துணை புரிவாய் நித்திய ஏக தெய்வமே. தினமே நான் உன்னை தேடி பணிய துணை புரிவாய் நித்திய ஏக தெய்வமே. மனநிலை தவறி மறுகினேன் நானே, மனநிலை தவறி மறுகினேன் நானே, மாசிலானே அனுகூல நற்கோனே. தினமே நான் உன்னை தேடி பணிய துணை புரிவாய் நித்திய ஏக தெய்வமே. அருள் நாயகனே அம்பரதீசா, ஆதியாம் நின்ற பேர் அருள் நிறை பாசா. அருள் நாயகனே அம்பரதீசா, ஆதியாய் நின்ற பேர் அருள் நிறை பாசா. மருள் பவனாசா மருள் பவனாசா மனுக்குலராசா. மருள் பவனாசா மனுக்குலராசா, மகிமை அடைந்த மகத்துவ நேசா. தினமே நான் உன்னை தேடி பணிய துணை புரிவாய் நித்திய ஏக தெய்வமே. செத்தேன் என்னக்குள் ஜீவனளித்தாய், தீயனன் மேல் திரு தீத்தம் தெளித்தாய். செத்தேன் என்னக்குள் ஜீவனளித்தாய், தீயனன் மேல் திரு தீத்தம் தெளித்தாய். முத்தே என் நன்மை ஆகமறித்தாய், முத்தே என் நன்மை ஆகமறித்தாய். மோதிய தீவினை யாவும் அளித்தாய். தினமே நான் உன்னை தேடி பணிய துணை புரிவாய் நித்திய ஏக தெய்வமே.
Oh God, my God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my God, my beloved, my heart's desire. Oh God, my God, my beloved, my heart's desire.
Ravi, you are muted.
Miss Ravi, Mrs. Ravi.
Yeah, I'm sorry. மானி நேர்விழி மாதராய் வழுத்தேக்குமா பெரும் தவிகள். மானி நேர்விழி மாதராய் வழுத்திக்குமா பெரும் தவிகள். பானல் வாயொரு பாலனீங்கிவன் பானல் வாயொரு பாலனீங்கிவன் என்று நீ பறிவெய்திடேல். ஆனை மாமலை ஆதியாய இடங்களில் பல அல்லல் சேர். ஆனை மாமலை ஆதியாய இடங்களில் பல அல்லல் சேர். ஈனர் கேட்களியேனலேன் திரு ஆலவாயரணிற்கவே. ஈனர் கேட்களியேனலேன் திரு ஆலவாயரணிற்கவே.
I have a Catholic song, and this Catholic song named "The Lord is My Shepherd." The Lord is my shepherd, I know He makes me down to lie in pastures green. He leadeth me the quiet waters of fine. My soul is all restored again. namesake. The Lord walk in that hour, there will I feel no new. For the Lord with me and thy rod, and thou me comfort still. My table thou is furnished in presence of my foes. My hand adores with honor, and my cup overflows. Goodness and mercy all my life shall surely follow me, and in God's house forevermore my dwelling place shall be.
The first prayer. O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence they are all thy servants, and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together at thy table of bounty. All are illumined through the light of thy providence. O God, thou art kind to all. Thou hast provided for all, dost shelter all, conferest life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all are submerged in the ocean of thy mercy. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father, God, gladden our hearts through the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word, and shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence. Thou art the mighty and powerful. Thou art the forgiving, and thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind. Abdul-Baha.
O friends, be not careless of the virtues with which ye have been endowed, neither be neglectful of your high destiny. Suffer not your labours to be wasted through the vain imaginations which certain hearts have devised. Ye are the stars of the heaven of understanding, the breeze that stirreth at the break of day, the soft flowing waters upon which must depend the very life of all men, the letters inscribed upon his sacred scroll. with the utmost unity and in a spirit of perfect fellowship, exert yourselves, that ye may be enabled to achieve that which beseemeth this day of God. Verily I say, strife and dissension, and whatsoever the mind of man abhorreth, are entirely unworthy of his station. Centre your energies in the propagation of the faith of God. Whoso is worthy of so high a calling, let him arise and promote it.
It is not for him to pride himself who loveth his own country, but rather for him to loveth the whole world. The earth is but one country, and mankind is citizens. Baha'u'llah. Undisturbed shall our mind remain, no evil words shall escape our lips. Friendly and full of sympathy shall we remain, with heart full of love, and free from any hidden malice. And that person shall we penetrate with loving thoughts, wide, deep, boundless, free from anger and hatred. Occasions of hatred are certainly never settled by hatred. They are settled by freedom from hatred. This is the eternal law, Buddhist scripture.
Elizabeth.
O Son of Spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me, and neglect it not that I may confide in thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes, and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge, and not through the knowledge of thy neighbour. Ponder this in thy heart, how it behoveth thee to be. Verily, justice my gift to thee, and the sign of my loving kindness. Set it then before thine eyes. Baha'u'llah. O ye who believe, profane not Allah's emoluments, nor the sacred month, nor the offerings, nor the garlands, nor those repairing to the sacred house, seeking the grace and pleasure of their Lord. But when ye have left the sacred territory, then go hunting, and let not your hatred of a folk who stopped you going to the inviolable place of worship seduce you to transgress. But help ye one another unto righteousness and pious duty. Help not one another unto sin and transgression, but keep your duty to Allah. Lo, Allah is severe in punishment. The Quran.
Assemble, speak together. Let your minds be all of one accord. As ancient gods, unanimous sit down to their appointed share. The place is common, common the assembly, common the mind. So be their thoughts united. A common purpose do I lay before you, and worship with your general oblation. One and the same be your resolve, and be your minds of one accord. United be the thoughts of all that all may happily agree. Hindu Rig Veda. Even if he does not quote appropriate texts much, if he follows the principles of the teachings by getting rid of greed, hatred, and delusion, deep of insight, and with a mind free from attachment, not clinging to anything in this world or the next, that man is a partner in the holy life. Buddhist Dhammapada.
Let love be without dissemination. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. In honor, preferring one another. Not slothful in business. Fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoicing in hope. Patient in tribulation. Continuing instant in prayer. Distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality. Bless them with which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one towards another. Mind not high things, but condensed to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as lieth in you, live peacefully with all men. Christian scriptures. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked concealeth violence. Hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all transgressions. In the lips of him that hath discernment, wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is an imminent ruin. Judaism.
O children of dusk, tell the rich of the midnight sighing of the poor, lest heedlessness lead them into the path of destruction and deprive them of the tree of wealth. To give and to be generous are attributes of mine. Well is it with him that adorneth himself with my virtue. O brethren, stranger, O befriended stranger, the candle of thine heart is lighted by the hand of my power. Quench it not with the contrary winds of self and passion. The healer of all thine ills is remembrance of me. Forget it not. Make my love thy treasure and cherish it even as thy very side and life. Baha'u'llah.
My object is none other than the betterment of the world and the tranquility of its peoples, the well-being of mankind, its peace and security are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. This unity can never be achieved so long as the counsels which the pen of the Most High hath revealed are suffered to pass unheeded. Through the power of the words he hath uttered, the whole of the human race can be illumined with the light of unity, and the remembrance of his name is able to set on fire the hearts of all men and burn away the veils that intervene between them and his glory. One righteous act is endowed with a potency that can so elevate the dust as to cause it to pass beyond the heaven of heavens. It can tear every bond asunder, and hath the power to restore the force that hath spent itself and vanished. Be pure, O people of God. Be pure, be righteous, be righteous. Baha'u'llah.
All prejudice, whether of religion, race, politics, or nations, must be renounced, for this prejudice have caused the world's sickness. It is a great malady which, unless destruction of every ruinous war, which is terrible. Every ruinous war, which is terrible, bloodshed, and misery, has been caused by one or other of this prejudice. Concerning the prejudice of race, it is an illusion, a superstition, pure and simple. For God creates us all of one race. There were no difference in the beginning, for we are all descendants of Adam. In the beginning, also there were no limits and boundaries between the different lands. No part of the earth belonged more to one people than to another. In the sight of God, there is no difference between the various races. Why should man invent such a prejudice? How can we uphold war caused by an illusion? God has not created man that they should destroy one another. All nations, tribes, sects, and classes share equally in the bounty of their Heavenly Father. Abdul Baha.
O thou forgiving God, thou art the shelter of all these thy servants. Thou knowest the secrets and art aware of all things. We are all helpless, and thou art the mighty, the omnipotent. We are all sinners, and thou art the forgiver of sins, the merciful, the compassionate. O Lord, look not at our shortcomings. Deal with us according to thy grace and bounty. Our shortcomings are many, but the ocean of thy forgiveness is boundless. Our weakness is grievous, but the evidence of thine aid and assistance are clear. Therefore confirm and strengthen us. Enable us to do that which is worthy of thy holy threshold. Illuminate our hearts. Grant us discerning eyes and attentive ears. Resuscitate the dead and heal the sick. Bestow wealth upon the poor and give peace and security to the fearful. Accept us in thy kingdom and illumine us with the light of guidance. Thou art the powerful and the omnipotent. Thou art the generous. Thou art the clement. Thou art the kind. Abdu'l-Baha.
which is thy utmost desire. That the closed doors become opened, the uneven roads become even. Thy face shine by the love of God. Thy sides become brighter by witnessing the signs of God, that thou mayest attain spiritual joy. Eternal happiness and heavenly light. Eternal happiness and heavenly light. O thou candle of the love of God.
Thank you very much to all our readers, especially all the ones who chanted beautiful prayers, Father John, Beta, Mrs. Ravi, and Mrs. Jung. And thank you, Mr. Siba, for providing and organizing the program. Now our speaker tonight is an accomplished actor, playwright, and director. His latest directing project, Sucharita, is a play being performed soon, hopefully soon, in Australia, in Sydney. Now, Mr. Neil Khare is here to share some of his knowledge on the complexity of this journey, the journey called life, or the power of being. I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Neil Khare. Please welcome to share with us your...
Thank you, Zara. My name is Neil. I've been doing theatre for the last decade or so. And theatre is quite fulfilling where I'm concerned. As the words I read earlier, it sort of sums me up a bit. It helps me to attain spiritual joy, eternal happiness. And theatre for me is on a certain level quite fulfilling. It feeds my spirit, mind, and soul, to be quite honest. It's what I require. It's what gives me drive. And in my life, it's quite essential because also it teaches me. I think stage, what people may not understand, is quite therapeutic. And it sort of helps you to heal in a way if you allow performance to do so. It sort of rejuvenates you as well. Every performance is a challenge, and you start from A and then you end up in Z, and it's what you learn from this journey that is quite priceless, and that's the reason why I encourage many individuals from various walks of life to actually indulge in theatre, because what theatre gives you is, I reckon, is second to none. It gives you an experience to sort of exit or leave a comfort zone that you are familiar with. So it takes you into unfamiliar territory. But what that does for you as people, it does for us as performers and actors, it gives us courage and confidence to actually grow and understand, and therefore allows us to communicate, I think, a bit more openly, and I think there's that willingness to understand and see others' perspective. Now, the reason why I call this the power of being is because my attempt is to actually try to amalgamate or basically demonstrate how theatre can bring about change. So how we can use theatre to, as Siva wanted, was to encourage unity in our community, encourage unity in ourselves as well, because it's quite essential that we are in sync. It's a crazy world out there, and I think it's very essential that we understand ourselves. So when we talk about being or existence, the importance of actually knowing who we are and sort of understanding our essence. So there are layers to us that construct us, that sort of bring us, bring us together in a way. So our psyche, my interpretation, probably is very similar to many, is basically the soul, the mind, and the spirit. And I sort of correlate or relate this to the Holy Trinity, where the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost are one, meaning one cannot exist without the other. I hope my interpretation is right. Therefore, we need to understand the relevance and what we bring to stage and to the performance. So for me, it's about the soul, the mind, and the spirit. And my understanding is what that does for me. It allows me to understand my conscious and my unconscious state. It is sort of, how can I say, it makes me aware. If I can relate this to faith, it sort of allows me to understand certain principles that are relevant for bettering oneself. As Stella Adler put it, she said, the play is not in the words, but it is in you. And that's what theatre does. Theatre actually allows you to understand yourself, and it unifies you with your space and your environment and the people who are in it. I'm attempting to explain how theatre is and how theatre can bring about unity in society. So there is one quote I actually had that I've sort of lost in all of this. It says, great theatre is about challenging how we think and encouraging us to fantasize about the world we inspire to. And this was written by William Defoe, who is, I think, incredible. So encouraging humanity to coexist by breaking down divisions, eliminating discourse, bringing together people from all walks of life into one realm. And that's your stage, where people from various backgrounds, various age groups, basically unite and come together to construct a piece of work. And it's quite essential to understand that it takes a team of people to unify in order for you to be able to construct something that is quite eventful. And being a director myself, I get that joy to actually see a bunch of people come into a room and workshop and brainstorm and they put their differences aside, and they bring themselves into the space. So, and I'm throwing in a couple of quotes from various people deliberately, just to give you an understanding. So the mission of the theater, after all, is to change, to raise the consciousness of people to their human possibilities. And this was said by Arthur Miller. So theater allows you to, or allows us to better communicate. It sort of gives us, as I said, the ability to sort of negotiate with ease, think outside the square or the triangle or the pentagon. It gives us that opportunity to create. It allows you and me in a space, in a safe space, to be able to invent and innovate. It sort of allows us to be in sync with each other and with our surroundings. And it sort of takes away, gradually takes away your barriers, your insecurities. And that is only done or accomplished because a group of people have decided to be together in a space to unify and to trust. And that is the reason why theater for me is so essential, because theater allows me to trust another human being that most probably in other environments I would be skeptical or be cautious of. So the focus here is unity. How does theater unify or bring together? How does it encourage unison? So as I said, as a director, I am required to think strategically, gather a team. I am required to negotiate between actors, negotiate between the writer and myself, negotiate between the writer and actors, music directors. So to collaborate on the task at hand, may it be the script, may it be the music, is quite essential. And the way we do that is by coming together and bringing our minds together and being conscious of our abilities and being conscious of the other man's ability. Theater is a verb before it is a noun. So it is all about it's all about doing. And that was said by Martha Graham. So I encourage us beings, regardless of our backgrounds, especially where we are in life, to indulge and to create, to be a part of the world that you probably in most days would be timid to be a part of. So theater allows us to play. It allows us to channel our energies. It gives you and me an opportunity to experience situations in real time. So there are a lot of activities, a lot of the stories told that are probably period stories. But on stage, it is in the moment, and you get to see the character play a part that has been known historically, but at that moment it is real time. So you get to see the flaws and the mistakes and the joys of that individual character. So a lot of times many people are reluctant due to various reasons. And what I've noticed is a lot of performers are reluctant because of age, because of progression, where we are in life. And as George Bernard Shaw says, theater is like a playground. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And I think that is quite relevant to most of us as we progress in life. We tend to stop exploring, or we get set in our ways. And what theater does for individuals is takes you again once again outside the comfort zone and allows you to explore and play. And you can be other characters, and you can be silly on stage, and it's not meant to judge, because you are creating a world, and this world is your world that you're creating in real time. And therefore it's a safe space. So what we actors or performers do, they throw at audiences is emotions. So it's like they throw you a ball and you catch the ball. Now it's up to you to do whatever you please with this. Now, you can engage with others, or you can get others to engage with you, or for that moment in time, you use it to engage your senses. So you use it to engage your soul, your mind, your spirit, and you grow in that moment. And it all depends on what you want to do with this art form. Theater, for me, to be quite honest, as I said, is extremely therapeutic. It sort of allows you to indulge. It allows you to indulge with others as well. So we play with the actualities, and we also delve into metaphors. So we construct, for example, dark and dreary, and we turn this dark and dreary moment into something beautiful, and that's what audiences take with them, which I think is quite phenomenal, because stage brings together various amounts of skill and technique, and you can only accomplish your ultimate goal, which is at the end of the show, where your audience appreciates your performance, is when you actually come together and you make those moments real for the audience. So they laugh with you, they cry with you. So acting allows us to consider someone else as well. So we have to, therefore, there are obstacles and of individuals. So what those obstacles are, and being part of theater, we have to engage. So we have to understand certain depths. So we have to explore, and in order for us to do so, we have to understand our emotions. You should feel a flow of emotions because you are alive. Your body will feel full of life. That is what we as performers must give on stage. That is your life. Yes, you are telling a story, but that is your life on stage, and that is art. And if you don't give all on stage, then you're not. You are doing a bit of an injustice to yourself, and this was rightfully said by Anton Chekhov, who is one of the brilliant minds, I think, and he said a lot about techniques, etc., where theater is concerned. And in return, I can assure you, if you participate on stage, it's sort of there's a fulfilling, it's sort of a kind of fulfillment that is second to none. And you will certainly, where I am concerned, and what I've experienced through other actors and other performers, the desire to be once again in a different environment, performing a different show, a different piece of work. So there is a list I've put together, and it's not a very long list. But before I sort of wrap up, there are theater games that we normally play, and there's one that comes to mind. It's quite a simple game, but it actually helps individuals to understand the other and stay in tune. So if you guys are willing to go ahead, or whoever wants to participate in the game, it's a quite simple game. So what you are required to do, so you will have to come off mute. So what you are required to do, we are required to go from digit 1 to 21. So as individuals, so for example, myself, I'll start off, let's say, and I go 1, Siva jumps in and goes 2. Zora then goes 3. Now, if Zora and Siva goes together 3, then you have to start again from 1. So it's about listening and being in tune. It is brilliant in a space where we are all together, but this is Zoom and we just have to improvise sometimes. So if you folks are willing, get off mute. And what we'll do is, it will take a few minutes probably. We'll do it a couple of times if we don't get to 21. We just have a go. So I will start off with saying number 1, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Different individuals pick up at some point. If you repeat 8 digit simultaneously, we start again. Okay, that's the game. And you can't prolong, so you can't wait for too long. You are given basically 5 seconds, but I will give you 3 seconds to make it a bit more fun. Okay, so get off mute. And okay, I'm going to start in 2 seconds. So, okay, 1.
No,
Two.
Okay, we start again. So be mindful.
If everyone understands,
it is going to test your patience. Okay, 1,
2,
3,
4,
start again, because you went 3 twice. So we try to get to 11. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, 1,
2,
3,
6,
5,
6,
7,
8.
I think 6 went twice. I said 6 too.
Did you? Oh, okay. That's honesty. That's wonderful. Let's go start from the top again. So if we could project our voices so others can hear, that'd be brilliant. 1,
2,
oh. Okay, let's do this again. 1,
2,
3,
4, 5,
6,
9,
6. Did I hear 6?
yeah,
7,
8,
9.
10.
I'll let that go. I'll let that go.
11.
12,
Okay, wonderful. Do you want to try this one more time and we go to 21? It's a bit of a challenge, but I think it sort of works, and you understand the reason why we do this. And there are many other games we do. So let's try to get to 21. If we don't, in the next game, we just stop it.
But there are not 21 people. But
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 21 people. So
Okay.
it could be 5 people.
Okay, all right.
But you have to get from 1 to 21.
Without repeating. Okay.
Without repeating, without 2 individuals saying it simultaneously.
Okay, good.
Okay, 1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
okay, we keep going.
6,
7,
8,
9.
9.
Okay, we stop. But you get, I mean, it's a lot more fun when you're in person. And these are the games that we normally incorporate to actually bring in unity, so people get an understanding of each other at the end of the game, and you sort of build a relationship up in the group, which is phenomenal when you're actually working through it. So what I've done is I've got a list of things that here that actually helps individuals to or helps you as performance. So the first list I have, it promotes positive behavioral changes. So it improves interpersonal relationship skills. It integrates physical and emotional well-being. It achieves personal growth and self-awareness. It improves overall quality of life. It allows participants to express their feelings. You are able to tell your story. You're able to act out and work out issues and problems. You relieve symptoms. Sometimes if you come into the space stressed and sad, or for some reason something's bothering you, because of the activities and because of what you try to explore on stage, you sort of leave that behind. Achieve emotional and physical integration. That's through the workshops and plus being on stage during performance. You expand the depth of your inner experiences, which is quite essential and quite phenomenal when you're on stage. It gives you self-confidence, self-esteem. It increases their sense of play, and you become a lot more spontaneous when you're in this environment. It helps you develop trust. It works out relationship issues as well, because you do role play quite a lot and you understand so many various characters. It improves your interpersonal and social skills. So communication, if somebody has an issue with communication, if somebody has an issue allowing themselves to indulge, then I 100% recommend theater. It helps you to strengthen or expand your personal life roles. And this is pretty big, simply because I think we are required to, in order to be able to be a lot more fulfilled. I think it's essential to understand various aspects. And it also helps to increase your mental and emotional flexibility. So theater overall helps you to grow in various aspects of your life, because there's so many layers to it. Another thing I will put forth to this group, if you're up for a challenge, and while I was talking, it sort of came to mind. If you're willing, I think there are a number of people who, if you're willing to indulge, what we can do is we can create a script and we can take it for 6 months. So this will explore your ability and sort of bring the group together as well. So what we can do is, for example, we can have a blank document, and this is just a proposal, and Siva can take it forward if you would like. We can start off with a blank document. So let's say Siva wakes up one morning and Siva goes, oh, guess what? I need to write something. And Siva goes on this blank document and says, so we start writing a story. So Siva thinks of a young man, let's say, Jay. Siva types in Jay is sitting in front of a lake, pondering about his life. He is whistling to himself. And then Siva stops. And then Zora, you jump in at 2 o'clock in the morning and you get onto this document and you go, guess what? Okay, I've come up with an idea with another character. While Siva is sitting and contemplating or thinking, Zora creates a character, let's say Jessica. Zora starts typing, Jessica yells out from a distance, Siva, Siva, or Jay. Jay is in his own world. And Zora approaches Jay and says, Jay, how are you doing? Maybe not Siva, maybe John jumps in and talks on behalf of Jay. Jay responds, I'm here, thinking about life, contemplating about my future, etc., etc. And then maybe Mai jumps in, and Mai jumps in for Jessica because she's come up with an idea. She maybe tells Jay, well, why are you staring at the sky? And Jay says, maybe I'm looking at the stars. And then John or Siva or somebody else jumps in again and says, but it's daytime. So you can create a story, and I think that'll be phenomenal if you participants go in there, create a document, and then create this chain of events, create characters. Each individual comes up with a character or comes up with a story that somebody else has created, and build on it, and give yourself 6 months, and maybe you could come up with a phenomenal script that you could take forward and create for stage, and encourage each of you as individuals to actually contribute. And I'll be more than happy to teach you and get you on stage as well. So that's something to think about.
It's a good idea. We will create a Google document, and you will be part of it.
Yes, and I will walk you through if I require. So as I said, it's just gonna be a blank document. Whoever jumps in first, it could be a simple dialogue, and then you go, and no one stops you from. So John, for example, if Siva creates Jay, and John can jump in and create dialogue for Jay. Zara can jump in and create dialogue for Jay. If Zara creates a dialogue for Jessica, it doesn't stop Siva from going in and continuing that dialogue. And then you create a line of events. And in 6 months, we can see where we go, or maybe sooner. You may come up with a phenomenal story, but I think it'll be pretty unique if you're able to achieve it.
Yeah, we will have a play on Zoom.
Okay, wonderful. That is it from me. I hope I've been of some assistance or given you a bit more insight on theatre. But I encourage people.
Thank you very much. I really loved it. I really liked it because I never thought of theater as like I never thought I can play. But the way you explained that everybody can be a part. Life is a theater. We have to play our roles, and I feel that
Exactly.
Being a therapeutic, I felt that that's must be very real. That because you always change your mood or you have to do a lot. Now the floor is open for friends to ask questions. But I really liked it. I think it's very important for us that we can all be a part of something different than what we have done by now.
Precisely.
I have a question. In the talk that you mentioned about those who are involved in theater, that is the actors, director and script writers and things like that. Or how do you measure the impact on the audience or on the society? Because you are not creating this just for your own satisfaction. You are creating to bring about some sort of change in the thinking of the people, right? So how do you measure the impact on the audience and the wider society?
There are a couple of ways. Actors as individuals gauge depending on the audience's reaction. So I may be on stage and let's say I've got a comedic part and certain dialogues that resonate or certain dialogues that I say, audiences pick up on, and they then obviously interact, they laugh, they clap, or they cry with you. And that's the impact you're looking for. But the greater impact is when audience members wait after the performance and they get into conversations with actors, they get in conversation with directors. Oh, I like this particular scene, or I like this particular character. How long did it take you to achieve, or what's your process? And that builds conversation between two strangers. So for example, Siva, if you see me on stage and you've never seen me before, and for whatever reason, I have been able to attract your attention or gain your attention. You coming and initiating a conversation is basically two strangers having a conversation about something that they think relates to them. And that brings two people together. And then you go away and you share that experience with somebody else. Or that's at least what I've gauged from audience members. So that's how you gauge. That's how actors gauge. That's how performance. It's when actors clap and when audiences clap, audiences laugh, they cheer. You get standing ovations. That's when we as performers, directors, we go, wow, okay, we've accomplished something. Does that answer the question?
Anybody else like to ask? Yeah, June.
Can I please ask, when you play Hamlet?
Yes.
You have a lot of people love Hamlet. If they study about Shakespeare, then, English and American literature, so Shakespeare, we talk about King Lear, Hamlet, and no other playwrights. What I'm saying, with my experience when I was at school, I look after the school theater. So therefore, when we choose the script, like you say, the play, just like, for example, Hamlet, but we didn't choose Hamlet, we choose Snow White. And then we had to have actors and actors, and we do instruction and training, and then we do acting and performing to the school principal. But what I'm asking, in the process of choosing actor and actress, it's like, for example, choosing the prince, if there are two people have the same capacity, physical capacity to lift up the arrows, to shoot the arrows,
yes,
then which one you're gonna choose? Because like if they all, like eye to eyes, they physical strength and everything, they can do everything.
yes, yes,
So which one you
yes.
choose? Like which one you choose Hamlet?
مثلا کشورهای چی رو میدیدی؟
مثلا کشور اروپایی، کشور پیشرفته.
Please, yeah.
That now, in our world of theater, for young people, it could be a bit disappointing, but that is sometimes we learn lessons. What we could do is in theater, if we do feel two actors are accomplished, depending on how many shows you have, so you can have one actor play a number of shows, and you have the other actor play a number of shows as well. So you can distribute if you did think that two actors had the same ability. But I think where performance is concerned, with anything in life, some people get the gig, others don't, and therefore you try the next gig. But we share roles. There are a few instances where we have shared roles. I'm part of a Shakespearean company, and we perform at Woollahra, at the School of Maharata, the School of Philosophy. I'm doing Much Ado About Nothing next year, or this year. But we sometimes have actors double up. So if you have two actors who are very capable, probably half the play can be played by one, the other half can be played by the other, and that's how you transition it. So for young people, it would be a tough, it'd be tough to select, but I would do that. I would sort of break up the play and just let the audience understand.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Vito has a question. Yes, Vito John.
I always wondered, how do the performers memorize their lines? It's so hard, especially if it is a live theater. It is so difficult, especially if it is a play from Shakespeare or those fancy ones. How do you remember your lines?
There are different techniques, and it is not an easy task. And that's the reason why I say theater challenges you as individuals, and therefore I encourage everyone to perform. It's a lot to do with association. So sometimes I've played various characters in the last few years from Shakespeare. It's association. So sometimes you associate the word with where you stand. Sometimes you associate the emotion with how you look. And then it comes to memory as well. So you repeat the scene over and over and over again. So I can sit down in my bedroom, 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, and I just go through the script over and over again. When I'm on stage, it's about association. It's about what I associate when I associate. So if I'm standing on the left-hand side of the stage, which would be the right-hand side for the audience, I would associate certain emotions or certain words. Sometimes what you can also do is you can, again, associate body parts. So if you say, I'm sad, and you want to remember the word, so you just maybe hold your thumb and just give yourself a bit of a prick at a certain point. And that allows you to associate. And the mind is incredible. We've got something called muscle memory. And you may think that you don't know your script when it comes to performing, but on the day itself, your mind just does what it's required to do as long as you feed it that information. So it's all about, and yes, you have to get rid of the nerves, but there are various ways, and association is one of the ways. I hope I answered the question. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, can I? Yes. Neil, is fascinating to talk. At some stage it went over my head, but then because I have been in in theater as a child up to my sort of 2021, and then later on the big plays in theological college. And so I have been on stage many times, but when I heard you speaking, it was, I could go back, even when you're talking about memorizing, you just you become that part, and then it automatically comes. You don't have the fear, it flows, and you bounce back to the other person, and then you get that strength back, and the words back, and yeah. So I can even really remember almost all the plays that I took part up to the age about 24, and after that I can't remember, on a pulpit. I'm a church minister, so I don't perform, but still there is certain amount of performance in bringing the reality into words or emotions or acts and stories. That one of the things that struck me was we never were in competition with each other. It can be I've taken major parts. Example, it was a boys' school, so I took part in the play, which is very emotional at some stage, was Lady with the Lamp, Florence Nightingale, and I was Florence Nightingale, and I brought the whole audience to tears because when Henry was bought and he was dying in front of me, who was my sort of lover, or and I decided to go. Even now I'm saying I decided to become a nurse, and then became the Lady with the Lamp, and he comes and he went to war because I became a nun and a nurse. So and I find him right in front of me on a stretcher, and I brought the whole actors on the stage at that time. I have photographs for some of them, So, but in that play or any other play that I took part in Tamil language, I got medals for Tamil acting. And also when I was young, not now, and also English plays mostly, and 3-hour big plays that the college put out to raise money. The intergenerational plays that I took part as an 11-year-old, dancing traditional Indian dance, boy, but because I learned at the beginning, but no competition at all. You are the part that you want to play. You will never imagine I should have taken that part. You are a community, and you are in unity that you were talking about. And then, of course, I'm not saying much about how the audience relates to that, but when it comes to the audience, I feel that you just take the audience with you and bring out the emotion that they would have on stage with me, taking that particular part that I'm taking. So it's just it's a mind-boggling experience to go through that.
It is.
And today, I took part recently in a play. You would hear about it. It's about beyond the razor wire or whatever.
Is that the Aboriginal?
It was produced by Phil Feinstein. He's a South African Jew, and he had a program called Music for Refugees. So he had a musical theater performance, and he invited some of the producers also, and I took part as a clergy marrying a couple inside the detention center. So, and he rang me later and said, "John, you were just natural. I don't want to tell him, look, I have been in this on the stage several times, but once you are on the stage, you get that confidence, which is there's a buck fear at the beginning, but then you enter into it, it's a different world altogether." So
it is altogether. John, can I say something? Just listening to you, because that's what theater does for me. Just listening to you, I think you should do Florence Nightingale. You should direct it or act it. No, it takes conversation, and I think you have a group at hand, and you could interpret it, or you can, you can make it a period piece, or you can make it contemporary. But just listening to you, John, is encouragement for performers like me as well, because that's what theater does. When people are part of theater, no matter how small or big, there's no small part. There is an excitement, and you walk away from it wanting more. And I encourage, for example, Zara is a therapist. I can assure you, once you jump into a play, and you don't need to even say dialogue, just be a part of the performance, you will see what it does to your inner self, and you will miss it, and you want to do a bit more and a bit more. But it is exceptionally therapeutic, and just listening to John and seeing John's face light up is proof in itself as to what theater does. And John, I would seriously encourage you to think about Florence Nightingale. You being a preacher, I think Florence Nightingale is a great story to bring to life, and it hasn't been done for a while. And you can make it a bit more contemporary, or you may not. But I encourage you to do it, John.
Thank you.
That's
encouraging. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful, John.
Any more questions or thought?
Yes, I would like to. Neil, you have given a very beautiful, I would say, a different perspective for myself. Basically, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
We can hear
you.
you.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, I just want to say it resonates with one of my thought which I'm having right now, and just I want to express it. Imagine that you have encouraged an actor just like you did John right now. Now John basically plays this character, and he is actually fully immersed in it. He manifests that fantastic role. He gets an award, and then all the feedbacks. So there is a lot of in Hindi language, it's called garva ras, that proudness comes in.
Yes.
And then after that, after a little while, like say when the play is finished and everything is over, John withdraws back into John himself.
Yes.
So he has basically played a character, then he withdrawn and became John again. So same way, like say out of that, there is a lot of learning happened.
Yes.
In John.
Yes.
And we can now take it to the next level where John withdraws from himself and becomes his essence to know what John was.
Yes.
So it's like a recursive withdrawal at two levels to come to the pure being or pure essence spiritually.
Yes. Yes.
So it resonates at that level with me. So I just wanted to share with everybody. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. I have not been into theater or music at all, but you have sparked some light here to think about it, and someday maybe we'll play something. Thank you so much. Appreciate.
No, my pleasure.
Could I respond to that, Neil?
Yeah, please.
I was in the boarding school at that time, and I had to sort of get back to my boarding life and start sitting for my year 10 exam was a big one at that time. But that lived with me. PB, you're saying that it's true. I came back to myself, my existence, but my existence became after that was not the same existence. In the sense, it had been enriched. I'm no more the same person that I was when I went through that particular period of preparation and production and acting and all that. Because I still work like Madam, the lady with the lamb, working with thousands of refugees. That is my life for the last 26 years here and throughout my ministry. Because I'm just thinking aloud that probably place like that really encouraged me, not just my Lord Jesus, you know. I always think of Jesus as Jesus of Galilee, you know, that character of Jesus. Not death, resurrection, which was big things, but Jesus of Galilee. Who was he? What did he say? What did he do with the people that he met? So, and I just wanted to be a person for others, like Jesus for others, and that's had been my life. That's my witness to whoever. If you read my stories, John Jagasodi, Google me, and you will get all the stories that were written about me. But that was, so in a way, you get back to your existence, but you are not the same person, because that itself, the performance itself, had changed my life. Am I right? Yeah.
I agree with you, John, and that's the reason why you said you're a preacher, and yes, you know, yes, there is, when you preach, you are yourself, but you still need to gain the attention and the confidence of the people who are listening and who are our ears, and therefore there is an aspect of performance. It's how you enunciate, it's how you pronounce, it's how you captivate your audience, and there's nothing wrong with that. On stage, it may be a performance to the audience, but as an actor or as performers, this is, as I said, it's real time. We are doing what is in the present, and that's the reason why it's quite enriching. So I know what I've gained through theater, and that is the reason why I encourage everyone with heart and soul. It's not about, for me, obviously, it's not about the money, and it's never about the money for us. But it's very enriching. So never hold yourself back. If you have a moment of where you go, you know, I want to do this, make it happen. And you have a space. I'm sure you have a congregation, and I mean, it could be as simple as, I don't know, during Easter, the Passion of Christ, make it a bit more, you know, make it a bit more theatrical, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's a lot more appealing, and I think it will help you to indulge and help people to see and understand, and will give actors an opportunity in your congregation to come out and do it well. I would say, if you're doing something where theater is concerned, do it well. Don't do half and half.
Yeah.
Make sure you put everything into it for you to gain the full experience.
Absolutely.
I was just going to ask you, what is your recommendation or some advice about stage fright? You know, some people, they get very anxiety and things when they are in front of lots of people, or because they always worried about being judged, or is that what?
Yes.
What
We all are afraid of being judged. No matter how proud or how big or how enormous you are always afraid of being judged. If you want it from a performance standpoint, I'll be quite simple. If you're afraid of stage, then I would say baby steps. Find a performance, find a theater that will allow you to be on stage. You may just move a table from one side to the next. You may just walk around stage and build up. The next time you find a play, a couple of lines, okay? And that will help you to build up your confidence on stage. But once you do that, it is just phenomenal. Don't have too much of an expectation. Just be in the moment, engage with people, and it is quite fulfilling. It is quite tiring. It is a second or a third job. But when you're on stage, on the day itself, curtain opens and your audience is there cheering, doesn't matter 1 or 20 or a couple of hundred. When you hear that cheer, something just hits, and it is so fulfilling. It is quite spiritual. It is quite spiritual. But you do have to be mindful. Our minds play tricks on us, and therefore we have to be careful of the layers that could present to us. And therefore we need to have peers that we can talk to, because when the adrenaline kicks in, it sort of takes you to another level. And when you sort of move away from the space, you have to make sure that you process that information carefully, because you are learning quite a lot and you are dealing with quite a lot in a matter of few months or few hours. So preservation is quite important.
Elizabeth has a question.
I think Colin wanted one before me.
Now you go, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Look, I thank you, Neil. It's been wonderful to listen to you. And one of the things that I can relate to is finding myself on that stage of life. I happen to be a solo operator of a hairdressing salon. And I had to work with myself, and I had to keep the balance with the clients. And when I first started out, I had very wobbly knees. But with my faith and my belief, I knew that we could have that strength. So I was quite successful in having clients for the 40 years that I worked there. Well, I've worked at my own business. But yes, you do find yourself, and you do find that inner courage. So while I'm not been in the theatre as such, although I do go to a theatre and watch people play plays, which is very lovely. But I know what it's like to stand up in front of the public. Yes. But
I'm sure you do, Elizabeth, and that's what we don't. That's what some of us fail to understand. A lot of times we are performing for other people. As a hairdresser, when somebody walks in, sometimes you are required to put on a facade, no matter how your day's been or how your morning's been or what information has you've been given prior to this exchange. But when this individual walks in, if your business means a lot to you, you will put on a performance, and that in a way is theatrical, and then you understand exactly. So and that's what theater does. It helps people in businesses to then again get a greater understanding how to collaborate, how to negotiate, how to create. So for business-minded people like yourself, theater is phenomenal. And once again, age is not a criteria. Okay, stage is wonderful, and it's for every single one of us. So I encourage you, Elizabeth, if you haven't been on stage, and if that is, go and do it. It can be as small or as big.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Now, Colin.
No, my pleasure, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Yeah, Neil, thank you. I just had a question about when you're a director, because you mentioned that workshops are like safe spaces where people can be themselves. But as in life, there's always humans and egos, and there's people who want to assert themselves and people who are feeling hurt. I imagine that would happen. How do you deal with that?
Yes. That happens. I wouldn't. It does occur. The way I deal with this is based on the individual, Colin. So let's say if somebody's finding. So I'm with Sucharita. I'm working with young actors, and there is an intense scene, and the young fella finds me quite approachable, but there is something in the script that he finds quite demanding. So he goes to his mother. Mother gives me a call, and she said, Neil, this is the case. He's come to me. I said, it can be changed. Ask him to come and talk to me, and we will make the changes as required. So I tailor my conversation depending on the individual. Now, there are times where actors are bigger than themselves, and when you have people who confront you, I think it's always give them the opportunity. People are going to vent. You sometimes you're in an environment, like for example, if you walk away from stage, and we sometimes when we believe in something, we have to put our points across. I think if you're listening to somebody who is quite passionate, give them an opportunity to speak. And then maybe if you're in a frame of mind, then maybe address their concerns. And that's how I do it on stage. Stating which I've had disagreements with music directors because we are all creative minds and we all want certain things a certain way. Hierarchy is very important in environments like this. So you have to respect the lead actors. Like if you're a supporting actor, you have to respect their spaces. So hierarchy is very important. So in regards to the director, yes, A director has a vision, and yes, we can be quite accepting of other viewpoints. But at the end of the day, we can't use everybody's opinion. We have to make a decision. So it's a difficult place to be, and there's quite a lot of juggling. But it's how you negotiate and how you collaborate. And I try to make the environment quite happy, and I try to make people come to me as much as they possibly can, and just indulge. And then you tell them, okay, I like your opinion. How is it going to work? And we start then cutting things away. So negotiation, collaboration is important.
That makes sense.
It works some of the time.
Yeah.
Hey?
That makes a lot of sense. And I guess when there's a deadline and a performance to aim for, then everyone feels they have to work together, I suppose.
Yes. Colin, I think in most things, there's nothing wrong with hierarchy. You have to understand that somebody has to call the shots. And sometimes we don't like it, but in order for us to go forward, you sort of need to be able to understand that hierarchy, and that's quite essential. So when I'm an actor, and when I've played leads, and when I've not played leads, I make sure I'm away from my lead actors, and I give them the space that's required. I don't go, they are lead actors, they have their own space. Let me walk into their space because I can. That shouldn't be the mentality. So the hierarchy is quite essential with most of the things we do. So respecting people's space. Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody who hasn't asked any questions, please ask.
I just want to emphasize the quote that Neil mentioned by Arthur Miller. I put it in the chat, yes, as well as on the WhatsApp group. It says, the mission of the theater, after all, is to change, to raise the consciousness of people to their human possibilities. And yes, yes, it is very profound that what human possibilities are. And we, many of the Baha'i friends will know that we have children classes. We teach the scriptures, but the concepts of these virtues and the high ideals, we teach them through many ways. And one of them is a play or a skit to demonstrate these things. So those who are involved with that are already out of this stage fright and anxiety and things like that, because we are instilling the courage and confidence in the children, and thereby we also exhibit those things. So I just wanted to make a mention of it. So there are friends, Panya, In, Farnas, Namita, Ford. Is there anyone you want to ask questions or comment?
No, thanks.
Panja.
Yeah, I start thinking about what Shakespeare says. The world is but a stage and we are all actors.
Yes.
And
yes.
When a person becomes a real actor on stage, he's acting to for some purpose, like payment, it's a job, or to educate some virtues and moral in human beings. Daily, we are acting in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
We are also acting in our own lives. Under different circumstances, we also perform differently.
Mm-hmm.
How can we be so sincere and pure as to follow the counsel of the Lord, how we should live in our daily life? This, as Shakespeare says, the world is but a stage and we are all actors. Isn't it beautiful if we can live a life of sincerity and genuine life? without acting in our real life. I mean, this is a bit offhand, I suppose, and I just feel that we are actors also. We are acting.
Yes.
Something. Yeah. Please clarify this for me. Thank you.
I 100% agree with you. I think as people and as we develop, as young people, we are quite innocent, and that's the reason why when you come across a child or you're young, and I take that upon myself as well, I make sure if I come across a young person, I nurture them and I show responsibility in their growth and upbringing. Where we are concerned as human beings, and I can only talk, yes, we do have facades and we do have faces that we sort of present. Now it depends on the kind of face. Now, if I, like for example, Elizabeth is a hairdresser, and her client walks in, and she's obviously got news early that morning, that's obviously, let's say, is a bit not nice. So she puts on this face to welcome this customer. I don't see that being a negative. I see that being a positive, because that helps her as well, and that helps the customer as well, and that's quite therapeutic in a way. So it depends on the face you put on, and I think our emotions are layers, and sometimes we are angry, sometimes we are proud, sometimes we are happy, and it all depends on the day and the interaction. But I think and I understand there is a deviousness to some human traits. I think those are the faces that we need to avoid, or we need to understand, and it surfaces in all of us. I can speak for myself, and I hope I am sensible enough to sort of walk away and go, you know what, those actions weren't right. And therefore, if I allow myself to then come to you and say, you know what, my actions weren't right, and I apologize, no matter how little a word or how great of a sentence. And that's what theater does as well. So theater allows you to reflect on those actions. So if I'm playing a character that's quite intense, that's quite aggressive, and if some point that character relates with some of my actions, then that allows me to reflect on my actions and therefore change me and therefore become a better human being. And that's the reason why I call this the power of being, because theater allows you to analyze yourself depending on the character you're playing. It's quite enriching if that's my personal experience. And that makes, I hope that answered the question. Or
Thank you. And the one thing is that theaters and dramas and films influence the young generation,
yes.
especially in like romance and
yes.
things.
Yes.
So
yes.
how can we teach the children? This is a movie, it's a drama, it's a story.
Yes.
Real life is not to be influenced by these things.
No.
So sorry.
I agree with you. It depends on the content, and it depends on the upbringing of the child, and parents have a lot to deal with. And I know that because I have parents. I've seen parents. Parents have a lot to deal with. I think it's the conversation that you have and what you indulge your child in. So let's say, for example, if you plan to smoke in the presence of your son, at some point your son will pick up that cigarette and will smoke. Okay, it's a detriment. The onus should be on the adult. The onus should be on the elders of our society to explain that to the child. And yes, the child is going to rebel, but at some point in his life, when he gets to an older stage, and it will hit him or her at some point. And I think that's what's required from us. So, for example, Santa Claus, right? A lot of people have this conversation with me, why lie to a child? I said, but Santa is quite relevant. It's about giving. It's not about the religion, but it's about the story behind the man. I can turn around and make Santa a devious old man who exploits child and who only differentiates between the good and the bad. Okay, or differentiates between, let's say, Christian, Hindu, or Muslim, because he only gives Christian kids gifts. But that's not if I do that, it says a lot about me. What I should be doing is I should be encouraging that story, because the story is about an older gentleman who helps young kids who are impoverished or who are not settled with the gift of giving, and that will help society. But I think now with a lot of the youngsters, the conversation is going elsewhere. But it's up to us. It's up to us to engage and make sure. I will never light up a cigarette. I don't smoke, but I will never light up a cigarette even near a 20-year-old, because I have the responsibility to make sure that I'm not influencing that 20-year-old. What the 20-year-old does is up to the 20-year-old, but I make sure I influence them well, or at least I try to.
Thank you. One more question which is troubling my mind is, a lot of movies are made with the purpose of gaining money, profit, and becoming popular, not including like moral values in them. So how could we tell the directors and the movie makers not to indulge in this kind of cheap publicity? Like they advertise cigarettes, gambling, horse riding, and spaceships and modern transports and some mystical things, like even the I can't even remember. My grandchildren used to see this kind of movies. So this is the purpose of the world, is to entertain people, and it becomes part of the life of the future generation. And however much the parents put in values in them, they pray, but their mind is always stopped by this attraction outside. And movie going is a very popular thing and entertainment for young people. How do we instill the values in the directors and producers to produce movies which are more susceptible to these values? Thank you.
No, to answer that question, you can't stop that. There are going to be bars, there are going to be bigger casinos, because that's where the money is. And sometimes I think people thrive on other people's indulgence. That's unfortunate. So once again, it comes back to family values. I think so. For example, as an older man, I tend to teach myself. I don't drink. As a youngster, I did drink a bit, and as I gotten older, I think the teachings of my mother, sometimes at the back of my mind, she would go, "Neil, this is not right." And as I get older, that actually surfaces, and I start choosing or making better decisions. So I think let's say if you have a grandson who's quite young, I don't think being forceful could be quite a detriment. If he is just leading life, then I think having conversations as to questioning his actions, if he still goes on to do them, he will face the repercussions. And once he faces those repercussions, if he comes to you for support, it's how you address it. I don't think feeding him or sort of wrapping him in cotton wool would benefit him. He needs to learn from his actions. And as adults, I think it sometimes becomes tough to juggle. But I think conversation is quite important. Conversations are quite important. That's what I'm learning from my experiences.
Thank you. The use of certain movies, like using weapons, guns, the most powerful guns, and killing and shooting and robbing. This would teach the children how to pick up things and murder and robbery. And I find that when I watch, I say, "Oh my God, I'm learning tricks, new tricks." What about
I agree with you.
And they
I
try
agree
to
with you.
play on the parents and at home. They just use the
Yeah.
tricks and say, if you do that, I will do this. So where do they learn all this? This is
I
problem.
know.
I just wanted to add to that question. Just wanted to add to that response. Sarah here, a daughter
Yes.
of
Yes.
Vasanta and Siva. I just wanted to add to that. So generally what sells is determined by society, and there's a critical mass who are kind of in this space where they are entertained by this. So I think there's a lot of effort needed to be made in the grassroots to refocus people on things that are of value and for them to prioritize that. And potentially until we can get to that critical mass, which will then influence what people do to sell.
Yes.
We potentially will need to just arm, the younger generation with the tools to combat these negative forces so that they can maneuver in this reality. There's no short answer to it, but we can't blame the director. We have to blame 90% of society because this is what we like, and we're okay with it.
Yes, and I would agree with you there as well. And where do you stop? And that's the reason why there are ratings. So certain movies, certain age groups can't watch. But you look at animation now. It's sort of the internet is making a lot of things accessible, which is scary to a point because they are young minds, and I think young minds are impressionable, and I think it's very important for us to try to keep that conversation going, because I myself don't like a certain interpretation of certain things, and we are spoiling it for the young people. But I don't know. Maybe this is where life is taking us, and the next generation will be more accepting. I don't know.
No, I'm so sorry because schools, the children, young boy takes up a gun and shoots all the students in schools. Where do they get this idea of shooting and all? It's so sad. I mean, to see such things happening in schools. A little boy, a young boy, he's influenced by something which he does destroy the peace in the school. Sorry, I
no, that's fine. No, that's fine. I think you're passionate about this topic, and I think it's rightfully so. I think it's all lot to do with, for example, if somebody's got anger issues, they take a plate and they throw it. A gun being so accessible to some of the communities in the United States of America, and that's the reason why gun laws should be looked at in every country. In every country, I'm against gun law. I'm just against the use of weapons that deadly, and I think rightfully so. But if it's attainable, let's say, for example, let's use one of us as an example. We have a bit of a tantrum. We have, so we go pick up this gun and we just pull a trigger, and out of this gun comes out these pellets that are in the hundreds sometimes and can cause a lot more damage in comparison to, let's say, me picking up my phone and throwing it at someone. So it's things that are accessible to these young people in the United States, because that's what you're referring to. It's quite sad. And once again, it's about conversation. It's about what is out there and what these young people are seeing nowadays. Video games. I'm not very impressed with the fact that young teenagers have access to Call of Duty. I think that should be for adults to play, somebody my age, because they are fairly graphic, and these young people are impressionable. And it sort of goes into their subconscious, and when they act out in things that they've seen. That's my interpretation of certain situations. But I think video games like Call of Duty need to be banned from even 18 or 20-year-olds. I think over 26 probably. I don't know. That's my opinion.
They do have censorship boards, but the censorship board itself is not giving priority to values. The censorship board allows certain movies to go through. This affects society. So I'm sorry, I think along the other side.
No.
I just want to get some clarification, as we are all parents, grandparents, and future,
Yes.
parents. So it's good that we think
I
along.
think you want to ask something.
Conversation is important.
Just wish to see you one day at the Sydney Opera House, Neil.
Oh, I hope your words God listen to.
Yeah.
I would like to do that at some sort of level at some point. Hopefully, if it doesn't happen, I'm pretty content with where I am. As long as I'm working as a director or a theater actor or something in theater, I'm pretty content.
Any more? Thank you so much, Neil. It was
No,
really
thank
very
you.
eye-opening to me, and so much.
Wonderful.
You shed so much light on the subject of theater, acting, and performing. But
Wonderful.
I sometimes feel that where can you find so many theater to go and play? I feel the way you were saying that all of us should take a part in this.
Listen, you have a group of 20 sort people. Start it with your group. Engage. Come up with something that brings you all together. Put the thought on a piece of paper and take it forward. There's enough space for several actors and performers.
Thank you. And
Thank you, Neil, for all your encouragement to our group.
You're welcome,
I think
John.
Zora, I think the last piece of conversation, and I belong to that cultural thinking as well, that this is where we can focus on theater rather than on cinemas and movies that we are older people are actually worried about. Even I find it sometimes it goes beyond me, beyond even the adults. But this is where theaters are, the theater, the productions of the theaters are keep in their mind this very thing that leading us into our consciousness and then leading us into the highest potentials that we can have, and to resonate with each other or communicate, and we find this unity in the theater, on the stage, and in the theater itself. So theater plays a very important part. I think it's time for us to concentrate on theaters.
Yes. I encourage youngsters to go to theater, because in cinema and what they are exposed to in movies, theater is a different experience altogether. And I think theater is a lot more innocent. And yes, so I would say encourage young people to go to theater more, and yes, engross them in that space.
Yeah, I really encourage. I mean, I admire your sense of being sincere to your work, and also how you care about people you work and also people who are watching. I can see the sincerity in your way of working, and
thank you.
It's
So
very
we will,
good. And also,
we will start. What he suggested is that we are going to write our own script and we are going to act, and he's going to be our director.
I would be more than willing to. We can workshop it. As I said, start with an empty document. The first person goes and writes a line or a sentence or builds a character. The next person takes on it and just build on it. Give it 3 to 6 months.
So can I ask Neil? Can I add you in the WhatsApp group so that when we have questions or anything like that, we can ask you?
Yeah, you most certainly can, Siva. You most certainly can. I'll be more than willing to.
Okay.
If this is one you do, fantastic. And end of 6 months, I'm sure you will come up with a great concept.
Okay.
And you can stage it.
Wanted to add one thing, that Abdul Baha, and especially Abdul Baha, put so much emphasis on the children and on the parents. They said the most children, learn most of the things until the age of 5. And also until the age of 15, there's the maximum. Later on, if you haven't taught them anything at home, they are going to learn it from outside. That's a responsibility that for parents and grandparents now, because parents are very busy with work, grandparents can guide them when they are young. The Abdul Baha especially says until the age of 5, you can build their character and their upbringing. If you wait too long and you're too busy putting them in nurseries and all the times
Yes.
here and there, then
Yes.
you can expect a beautiful human beings and right character. Yes.
Yes, it's the nurturing. That's what they say. A child's mind absorbs a lot more till the age of, I think it's about 12 or 13. I'm not quite sure, but it is around about that age. So you have to be quite mindful what you expose a child to at that stage. So for example, pathological personalities tend to develop at that age if you are exposing. So something like a little lie, when you as a parent say in front of a child, that for some reason develops and grows. And that's, I won't go into that, but yeah, so we have to be quite mindful what we indulge our children with, especially at a younger age, till about 11 to 12. So it's quite essential for parents to make sure that parents do everything right until that point.
Yes. I just thank you so much for, if
No,
there is
thank
any
you.
more 1 or 2 more questions, or otherwise, I really appreciate your
Thank you.
time and your, yes.
Okay.
No, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Always.
Bye,
Thank you
Phil.
very much.
Bye, Neil.
Thank
All
you,
the
Neil.
very best to you. Thank you.
You
Bye.
too.
Thank
All
you
the best.
very
Take
much.
care.